Hello everyone, it's Nina. Thanks so much for joining me today. Today I'm here with Altenew as a guest designer for their video challenge number 6. It's going on between now and the 14th of May, so I hope you'll be entering in your videos showcasing Altenew products. Today I'm going to be featuring the Vintage Roses stamp set as well as the Birthday Greetings stamp set. Both of these are some of my favorites from Altenew, and they are really great to pair together to create some really fun birthday cards. I'm going to be using these products today to create a faux watercoloring effect. Here you can see the stamp set. This is the Vintage Roses, and it's a great layering stamp set that lets you create so many realistic, beautiful flowers, and we're going to be using that to our advantage today. I'm going to be doing all of my stamping onto this paper. This is Canson mixed media paper. It's a thinner paper, about 40 pounds, and it's perfect for what I'm going to be doing today. I've got some distress inks. This is Sponge Sugar, Worn Lipstick, and Candied Apple. We're going to be using these to create our watercolor effect. We're going to be creating an effect where it looks like we have watercolored all of these flowers, but in reality it took you only a fraction of the time and you get some really fantastic and beautiful detailed results. So I'm going to start by stamping the base layer of these two flowers. These are 3-layer layering stamps, and I'm going to be using some Sponge Sugar as the base color. I'm covering up this paper. I'm not going to cover the entire thing, but I'm going to cover a lot more space than what I need, so that way I can figure out the portion of the background that we're creating that I want to use for my card. So now I'm taking the second layer. This is some Worn Lipstick, and I'm not worried about the texture that the stamping is creating because distress inks don't stamp evenly. This is actually working to our advantage because I want to be able to have a watercolored textured look. And of course watercoloring is imperfect, so the imperfectness of the stamping is actually really helping us in creating this background. So I'm using both the third layer and the second layer for that smaller rose, and now I'm bringing in the second layer for the bigger rose. I'm going to go ahead and cover all of these up until I have the entire flowers stamped. Once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the leaves. I've created a mask using some sticky notes. You can use whatever type of mask that you want for this. I'm just covering up those flowers so that way I can stamp these leaf bases below my flowers. This is just going to give it a little bit more pop of color and really finish these flowers off. I'm using some Shabby Shutters Distress Ink for these leaves. And then I'm going to go ahead and take some peeled paint distress ink, and I'm going to start filling in the second layers. These leaves have 3 layers, and I'm not going to use all 3. I'm only going to use the first layer, which is the base, and then the second layer. Alright, once I have all my stamping done, now I've got some water. This is just a spray bottle with some plain water, and I'm going to start spritzing this paper with that water. I'm going to use quite a bit of water for this one. I've actually created 2, and I'll show you the second one. You can use less or more water to give a more detailed or more watered down look. Depends on what you're going for. Here I'm taking some Evergreen Bough and Victorian Velvet distress inks, and I'm creating a splatter effect in the background. This just adds a little bit more texture and interest to your pattern and really dresses this up a lot. So to go ahead and die cut this, I'm using a stitched rectangle die, and I'm going to figure out what part of the background that I want to use for my card. I decided I like it right here, so I'm going to go ahead and die cut that out. And then I'll pull this out, and you can see we have this beautiful background panel that looks absolutely beautiful, and it took you very little time to create. Alright, so here's the 2 patterns I've made using that same technique, and I just used more water on the right hand side. This left hand side, you can see I used very little water, and I have a lot more of a defined look for these flowers. So just vary the amount of water you're using to create the desired look that you want. To move on to build my card, I'm using the Birthday Greetings stamp set. This is a beautiful script font in that stamp set. I just love how detailed and delicate it is. And I'm going to be stamping this in some VersaFine Black Onyx ink onto some vellum. This vellum is from Basil. I'm using my Mini Misty to go ahead and stamp this down, and I've prepped the surface of my vellum with an EK Success powder tool to cut down on static. And then I'll go ahead and heat emboss this with some black embossing powder. Once my sentiment was all embossed, I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut this out using some Cutter Bee precision tip scissors. I love these scissors for detailed fussy cutting, and I'm using these to cut this sentiment out because I love the look of the fussy cut sentiments and how they add a really nice detail to your card. I wanted to create some banners for my card, and I'm using some washi tape here from Little Bee. I have tons of washi tape, and I use it for a variety of different things, but I thought this would be a fun way to be able to get some more use out of it. I'm going to cut this down using my tonic trimmer, This is going to give me a beautiful silver and teal polka dot banner that's going to match our panel perfectly because of the teal color that we have in the evergreen bow distress ink. Once I have that one trimmed down, I'm going to go ahead and trim down a smaller white banner, and I also ended up cutting a pink banner as well. Here you can see our paper strips, and I don't show the pink one, but that one will be layered behind those two banners. So here I've got some foam tape, and I'm going to be putting this on the back side of the teal pattern. I'm going to layer this on top of the pink one, and this is cut from cotton candy cardstock from Simon Says Stamp. I'll go ahead and press that down, and then I'm going to use some foam tape on the back of the small white one, and I'm going to layer this on top of the teal pattern. And this is going to create a beautiful layered banner cluster that's going to give us a nice focal point for our sentiment. Alright, so when I've mounted this onto some silver foil cardstock, and I just love how that silver really captures the beautiful silver in that washi tape, I'll go ahead and adhere that together. And now I'm going to take a piece of Neenah white cardstock. This is cut to 11 inches by 4 1/4. I'm going to be creating a top fold card. I used my Martha Stewart scoring board to go ahead and score that paper down. Before I attach my panel onto my card base, I'm going to be taking some silver bow wire. You can find this at any craft store. And I'm going to be using this to tie a beautiful silver bow around the bottom portion of my panel. This is going to tie in the rest of the silver that we have going on in our card. And I love the bow wire because it holds its shape beautifully. So once I've tied that, I'm going to go ahead and attach my panel onto my card base, just using some ATG tape to go ahead and attach this down. And then finally, for some little bit more embellishing, I'm going to be using some Pretty Pink Posh sparkling clear sequins. These are my absolute favorite sequins, and I use them on a lot of projects. They match this perfectly and add just a little bit of shimmer and shine to the card without being distracting. So before I go, here's the two cards that we've created side by side. You can see the one on the left has a lot less detail because we used a little bit more water, and the one on the right has a lot more detail because we used less water. So I hope this has inspired you to try a faux watercoloring effect of your own. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments section below. And thanks so much for stopping by and spending some time with me. If you enjoyed this video, here's another one you might be interested in featuring watercoloring techniques. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you can find me on social media at Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, as well as my blog. Thanks for watching!